Hey guys, what's going on, LBHT Crew B? What is going on with our teams, man?
I mean, nothing. The Lakers are they're turning around. Everything's good.
Yeah, Brooklyn's number one in the East. Yeah, you're right, man. Yeah, our teams are doing fine. They're doing well. The other teams, the NFL teams.
Oh yeah, no, those are awful.
Yeah,
Those are
yeah,
both terrible.
yeah. All right, so look, we try to do a post game show when we're available on Sundays,
Went ahead
but
and put the link into the chat.
you put the link
By the
in
way.
there?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not popping up on my end. We're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to look into that. Can you guys see that link that we put in the chat? I might have to try it a different way. For whatever reason, it doesn't show up on my end. But yeah, that link in there, if you see it, that's for our Streamlabs. You guys know the drill, man. That we don't do super chat, but hit up that link or hit up the Cash App, $LBHT show, and we will highlight your comment on air. All right.
What's going on, tough puppy? I see you, man.
Yes. Let's get to some comments here, man. Let's get to some comments. All right. Oh, tough puppies early.
Mhm.
Yes. Alfonso Richardson, what's going on? Thanks for coming through. Raven Ron, he says, what up, LBHT? G-Row, third down and whatever. QB draw up the middle like clockwork. Fire him. Griff, what's going on, Griff? Get rid of all of them, honestly. All right, man. I hear you, man. Thanks for coming through to the live stream. Living legend. Always coming through, man. Appreciate you. Thank you. Solomon Reed. Now time to get rid of Greg Roman. Oh, you guys are coming to the dark side. You guys are coming. Oh, Tony Hendo. What's up? Shout out to Tony Hendo, man.
What's up, Tony?
Thanks for coming through, man. Jake P. What's good, fellas? What's good with you? Oh, man, Deshaun is in the house. Deshaun. Anyone who thinks Lamar should be benched for Huntley didn't graduate middle school. I'm actually going to touch on that. I wanted to touch on that in this stream, but I'm going to save it for the Wednesday show because we're going to clip that. We're going to do a little segment on look, we talked about the media's obsession with Lamar Jackson. I'm gonna identify some haters, some low key haters of Lamar that you need to look out for, and a few of them will be amongst the Ravens flock. All right, so we're gonna touch on that on Wednesday. So you gotta look out for the signs. There are signs that have always been there. You gotta keep your third eye open for those telltale signs. Okay. Jen Hazeb Ali, thanks for coming through, man. Time to get rid of Harbaugh and the Joker gang. Okay. Yazar, peace, bros. Peace to you, Yazar.
What's up, Yazar?
Felipe Marino, thanks for coming through. Do you guys think that we make the dance this year? Talking about the playoffs? Yes, I still think we make the playoffs. Noah, our man Noah's here. Says, Brodney, I ain't forget about yesterday. What happened yesterday?
He bet me that the Patriots would beat Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl, even though neither one of them gonna get there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Deshaun, I'm gonna expose some folks tomorrow. Look. We don't like to cause drama. We ain't gonna name drop, but look, you guys know how we are here. Yes, tough puppy. Bateman's a wide receiver number 1. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, so we lost. Whether you're talking about Panthers or Ravens, where do you want to start?
Did you lose? Or because I was reading from a lot of people that was one of them moral victories. They played really hard and they fought back, and they kind of almost won.
Okay, so here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. There's a reason why everybody, including Jess Rabick on Twitter, was pissed in that first quarter and in the second quarter, right? Everybody was just fed up with this offense. It's because we see the same thing every single week. And just because we had a little bit of hope at the end doesn't change anything. We keep saying this. Winning covers up a lot of what's wrong with this team. Yeah. And Lamar does a lot of winning. So he's been covering up what's been wrong with his team from week 1. Okay. Mm-hmm. What we saw out there from Tyler Huntley is no different than what we see every single week. Yes, the backup quarterback, whenever they come in and they play heroically, there's always going to be a little bit of QB controversy. That's just natural, right?
Yeah.
Because when Lamar went out, I mean, he wasn't playing bad. He completed all 4 of his passes. Just the offense wasn't going anywhere, right? But the offense wasn't moving. And then at the end of the game, this is a trend. At the end of the game, then all of a sudden we start moving the ball and we try to steal the win at the end of the game. And we came up short this time. And people are like, oh, well, he's running the offense better than Lamar. No, he's not. He's running the offense the same way Lamar runs the offense, except Lamar's been winning these games down the stretch, which is why we're still number 1 in the AFC North. Okay, that's not because of Tyler Huntley. That's because of Lamar.
And people didn't seem to care that Tyler Huntley turned the ball over twice.
That's what cost us the game, if you're being real about it.
They kill Lamar for turning the ball over. And listen, and rightfully so. You got to protect it.
Yes.
But Tyler didn't protect it either.
The fumble that we got returned for a touchdown, and then the fumble right there in the red zone. That's the game. If we at least hold on to it and we kick that field goal there, we don't have to have any discussion about a 2-point conversion. In fact, do we want to discuss that? Let's get this out the way.
We shouldn't have to have a discussion about going for 2 anyway. You obviously go for 2 in that situation.
Well, okay. Let me start here, because every other YouTuber that I've seen so far is saying you don't go for it, and this is one of those things where I don't agree. I think you go for it there, but if you don't like the call, I'm fine with that too, right? But my thing is this. Do you want to explain? Go ahead, B. You go ahead and explain why I think
the problem is when you have a situation like, because they were down, I believe they were down 15 at the time. You need a 2-point conversion, right? And with the game, it being late in the game, you have to know if you need that extra possession. So if you score and you kick the extra point, and then you get a stop and you get the ball back and you score again, and then you go for 2 and you don't get it, the game's over, right? If you score the first time and you go for 2, you can get it, and then that's great. Now you don't need to go for it again. But if you don't get it, now you know that you need an extra possession, and it changes the way you play the rest of the game. Yeah. It gives you the opportunity to make up for not getting that 2-point conversion. So in the situations where you have to go for 2 eventually anyway, you go for 2 early every time, so that hey, I got the 2-pointer already, or hey, we didn't get it, so now we have to manufacture another possession.
Yeah, so I mean, time management, right? That's essentially what it comes down to. If you kick the field goal, in your mind you're saying it's only a 1-possession game. That's what everybody's saying. If you kick the extra point, it's a 1-possession game. But you operate as if it's a 1-possession game, and you don't leave yourself enough time if you don't get the 2-point conversion, right? So you because you want to tie the game without leaving any time for them to go down the field and kick a field goal. So you run the clock out as much as you can. You get the touchdown. If you don't make the 2-point conversion, then you have to kick the onside. We get the onside, but how much time do you have left to get down the field, kick a field goal? If you know ahead of time, hey, we're gonna have to get 2 scores here, that changes things. Now we gotta hurry up, get this touchdown, kick the onside, and give us enough time to get down the field, kick the field goal. So I don't disagree with that move, man. But look, guys, that's not what you're mad about. That's not what I know you think. I know you guys are thinking, what do you know? Yo, you don't know what I'm thinking. You don't know. You don't know me, right?
You don't know my mind.
But I know you, Ravens flock. That's not what you're mad about. You're mad at everything leading up to it. You're mad that every week comes down to that play. Every week it comes down to, well, should we do this to win the game? Should we do that to win the game? Because even last week, I didn't like the 2-point conversion play, but that wasn't what I was mad about, right? Right? Every week it comes down to that play. Because if we get the 2-point conversion last week, if we get the 2-point conversion this week, or the field goal, right? Now we have 10 wins, and nobody's saying anything. We say, oh, questionable call, but we got it. Winning covers up a lot of flaws. But what's happening is you're sick of seeing the same game plan every single week and needing it to come down to the heroics of your quarterbacks. And Tyler Huntley played well down the stretch. He did. But it doesn't look like it's anything that's game planned for. It doesn't look like that, man, they're just really doing a great job coaching, catching this team off guard. It just looks like the players are just figuring it out on their own. They're going out there and making things happen.
Yeah, they were 8-5, and so that's 13 games. I believe 10 of them have come down to the very end.
Yes.
You know, they blew out the Chargers. They got blown out by the Bengals. And I mean, the Dolphins game was a 12-point game, so that didn't come right down to the end. But I think every other game has been right there at the end.
Win or lose.
That's exhausting.
Yeah, win or lose.
It's exhausting for fans. It's exhausting for players. It's exhausting for the organization. Like, especially an organization like Baltimore, where they have more talent than most teams in the league, and it shouldn't come down to that every week.
You're talking about from week one. You're talking about the Raiders. You're talking about the Chiefs. The Lions. This is 3 weeks in a row, right? Yeah. The Lions, and then we played the Chargers. That was a blowout.
They had the blowout against the Chargers.
And then we got blown out by the Bengals. All right.
Yeah, that was later. That wasn't the very next week.
It wasn't. I thought it was. I thought it was the very next week.
No.
No, we had Denver in there at some point too. That we won that game comfortably. I think it was Denver after. Yeah,
that's true. I forgot about Denver.
Yeah. But then off the bye, overtime with the Vikings, right? Last minute with the Steelers, last second with the Browns. It's every week these games are coming down to it. That's what you're really upset about. That's what you're sick of seeing. Because when you turn on the game, it doesn't matter who's in the game, right? It's going to be first quarter, no touchdown. You know that. Right? Like, it's going to be no touchdown. We got some 3 and outs. You're going to be like, well, what are we doing? Why are we wasting those drives? Right? We might give up a touchdown. We'll sit there and get mad at the defense. Like, man, come on, you can't give that up, or, be some penalties. We just look sloppy. Second half, we come out there and the defense starts waking up a little bit. And then the offense wakes up a little bit, a tiny bit, but it doesn't look like they're going to do anything. And then in the fourth quarter, they just go all out to catch up, and then it's just like, oh, well, we have a chance. We can, if we do this and that, and then we can win the game. That's what you're sick of. You just want to see them dominate from the jump.
Yeah, because they have the talent to do so.
Yeah.
Now, why would you be mad about this Cleveland game, period? Right? Like, why would anybody be upset about anything that happened in this Cleveland game? Lamar Jackson went out after 4 pass attempts.
Yeah,
you shouldn't have expected to win this game.
I thought we
shouldn't be mad. Yeah, they should have got blown out. You shouldn't be mad about anything that happened in that game. But like you said, you're not mad about the Cleveland game. Yeah. You're mad about the 2021 Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah. See, look, Raven Ron says Huntley couldn't get us 30 yards on that last drive. Come on, man. No, he couldn't.
He's a backup quarterback.
What are you expecting from him? Like, what are you expecting from your backup? All right. Listen, he played well up to that point.
I want to say this again. Because I've said it before. Tyler Huntley is not a good quarterback. He's just not.
He's a backup. He's
very young, and he could develop into a starter at some point. But right now, he's not a good quarterback. What are you expecting him to do?
Right. We'll touch on that a little bit too. What's up, Donovan Sales, man? Thanks for coming through. He says, "What up, bros? Our Ravens season is over." I don't think it's over, man. I honestly think we're going to win the division, as crazy as it seems, because I thought it was looking bleak after the game, but then the news comes out, Lamar, low ankle sprain. He may even play this weekend. I don't think he should, but he may even play this weekend against the Packers. The Bengals lose, right? And the Steelers had already lost. And the Browns, even though they won, they're the Browns. So we're still number 1. And you look at the rest of the schedule, I don't see the Bengals or the Browns winning more than 2 games. So really all we need to do is win 2 games. We need to beat the Bengals the next time we play them, and we need to beat the Steelers. Those are games that we can win, even as messy as we look. If we win those 2 games, I think we win a division. All right?
Yeah.
It sounds crazy because we look terrible, but those teams look terrible too, man. Omar B says slant call on 4th and 6 was silly. Yeah, because they don't know how to beat the blitz. They don't know how to beat that zero cover blitz. It wasn't even a slant. It was like a post, right? Like an inside post. He didn't run like an actual slant. Yeah, it was just a poor play call. But, you're talking about offensive coordinator who doesn't know how to draw up passing plays. We've been saying this. B's been saying this. He's a run game coordinator. So when you're trying to get him to come up with any kind of sophisticated, somewhat of a sophisticated passing offense, he's going to fail every time. That's just what we're seeing. Big Reg 29 says Lamar is a better player than Huntley, but Huntley is a better decision maker. No, he's not. No, he's not.
Nah.
What decisions did he make that was better? Huntley hasn't done anything that Lamar hasn't done already this season, right? This is, again, you're falling into the trap that this is every team. This is not exclusive to Ravens fans. This is every team does this. When a backup quarterback comes in and wins a game, you're like, oh, see, he did everything right. He's better than the starter. But what you're forgetting is when a backup comes in, that other team isn't game planning for that guy. The coaching staff starts changing the playbook to adjust for the backup quarterback. The other team didn't game plan for that. So now it just looks different. And
it's a small sample size.
And it's a small sample size, right? Can Huntley do that consistently like Lamar's been doing it? No.
Of course not.
No, he cannot. So he's not.
I mean, it wasn't until what, Lamar's third year that he had a turnover in the red zone, right?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah. This year. I think it was this year. It was his first time having a turnover. I think that Steelers game was That Steelers game was the first interception he threw in the red zone last week.
Like, Lamar's decisions are fine. He's in a slump, but Tyler Huntley doesn't do anything better than Lamar Jackson, honestly.
But so I was going to say this for tomorrow, right? This is part of like when people throw these little sneak disses at Lamar, right? These low key haters. I'm not saying, Reg, I'm not saying you're a hater or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, people will make these little comments like, oh, well, Huntley is really better. We can move on from Lamar, right? They'll say little things like that.
I'm saying, we did get an anonymous Cash App.
Yeah. Okay.
Harbaugh, Roman, and Wink need to go. Sad. Thank you very much. Man.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And we're gonna talk about the coaches in a second, but there's a lot of criticism of the way Lamar's playing right now, and they're saying Huntley is playing better. Huntley's only played 2 games, right? Mm-hmm. And he hasn't looked great. He had 2 turnovers in this game, right? He looked fine, right? He did enough to win the games. Well, to win a game. He didn't win this game. But anytime I see these comments, man, it tells me we don't look at how other teams play. That's why I always tell you guys, watch other games, because there's talk of Tyler Huntley is this and that. Watch some of these other quarterbacks in the league. He's not on that level, right? No. Nobody's giving up a second-round pick for Tyler Huntley. It's not happening. He's not that guy. Not yet. He's still young. Maybe he develops into that. But no. What he did was do enough to give us hope against a bad team. That's the other thing, too. He did this against a Bears team who was awful and a Browns team who is awful. Yes. Who was awful, right? We spotted them 24 points in the first half. They ain't score in the second half, right? So let's keep things in perspective. Lamar has generated comebacks against the Chiefs, who look like the hottest team in the AFC again, right? Mm-hmm. Against the Colts. And against the Vikings,
and that's the thing. Like it's only been a few weeks, but a lot of people seem to forget the historic performance that Lamar put on against the Colts.
Yeah,
right. He threw for over 400 yards, completed 85% of his passes, and bringing them back in that game. And he goes into a slump, and Tyler looks good. Nobody was saying that about Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes back up in Kansas City at the beginning of the season when he was turning the ball over.
Yeah.
Right? It's ridiculous.
Deshaun makes another point here. He says, also, I think it's worth noting that Andrews caught that same exact pass that he missed against Pittsburgh at least 5 times yesterday. Yes. Makes you think it wasn't Lamar's fault last week. You know why he made that catch? There was no pressure to make that catch. We weren't expected to win. But when there's pressure, that's not your guy.
No.
Andrews was a beast yesterday. And, look, he's leading all tight ends right now in yards and touchdowns, right? So he's the number one guy. And it's like, yeah, Andrews just as good as Kelsey. I'll take Travis Kelsey in a clutch situation 10 times out of 10.
And George Kittle.
Right.
And I don't know if y'all saw that catch that George Kittle made to help cement the win against Cincinnati, but that's the difference. That's why we always say that Mark Andrews is not an elite tight end. You can say, oh, well, he's a top 5 tight end. He's a top 4 tight end or whatever it is. but there is a wide gap between him and the guys who are actually at the top.
All right, let me read a couple more comments, and then let's get into the coaches, and then we'll talk some Panthers too. Jake P says this coaching staff can't make adjustments and never self-scouts themselves to address the weaknesses. Yes, indeed. Omar B says it's crazy because 10 wins will win the AFC North. I agree. And King of Pugo, what's up? He says no team deserves to win the division. Yeah, man.
But luckily for somebody, deserve ain't got nothing to do with it.
That's right. That's right. Griff says Sammy better have reduced snaps from now on. Yeah. Our man E is in the house. He says, looking a hot mess. Shaking my head. All right. How many people we got in here? Looks like we got about 45 people in here. If you're new, make sure you hit that like button. Also hit that subscribe button. All right. Make sure you're following us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and TikTok at LBHT Show. And if you're looking for a super chat, we don't do super chats here, man. We got something better than super chat. The Cash App, that sweet, sweet Cash App, okay? $ LBHT Show, all right? And floating around in the chat somewhere is a link to Streamlabs. I can't pin it. But you hit up either one of those, you leave a donation, leave a comment, and it will pop up on the screen right above us, right? So, yeah, go ahead and support the show, man. Much appreciated. And what else we got here? Agent E's in the house. He says, what's up, guys? Appreciate you coming through.
What's up, Agent?
Broke homie Quan is in the house. He says they said the same about Geno Smith, and then the rest of his starts look terrible. Yes. Danity, what's up, Danity? She says, preach. Andrews can't catch nothing when it matters. That's right. That's right.
I'm not going to say can't catch anything. I mean, but, you know, it's like 50-50, you know?
JP says, he says, Jose, I do think there is a GM that is desperate and incompetent enough to put up a second or third for Huntley based on how weak the next NFL QB draft class is looking. You know what? There's a sucker born any minute. I should walk that back. You could, in theory. I don't think he would go, but you could. I mean, Panthers.
Tyler Huntley has more turnovers than touchdowns.
Panthers traded a second round pick for Sam Darnold. Just saying.
No, but here's the thing: Tyler Huntley has more turnovers than touchdowns. He scored one touchdown in his career.
Yeah.
He has at least 3 turnovers. I don't know if he lost the other fumble, but the problem there is he doesn't have the pedigree that would make somebody trade a high pick for him.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold, he went for a second round pick because he was the 3rd overall pick.
Yeah.
You know, Sam Bradford, he went for a first round pick because he was the number 1 overall pick. You know, so even though they weren't good at that point, you know, GMs remember scouting them and liking them. Nobody liked Tyler Huntley. And he hasn't done anything in the NFL to change your mind.
Deshaun wants to know if we're going to talk about Amanda Nunes. Yes, we are. Not in the stream. In fact, we might even do maybe we'll do a members only stream or something like that. And we'll discuss some UFC and some boxing real quick. And we got speaking of boxing, we're going to have a special announcement to make on that. And not tonight though. We'll save it maybe for Wednesday. Yes, Hollywood hasn't scored since the Bengals game. Roman needs to explain this. All right, so let's get into some coaching real quick. All right, we're going to speed this up because we want to finish before or right around Monday Night Football. And we still got we got to discuss some Panthers too. There's some there's some stuff that we got to discuss here, right? There's always parallels. We can always draw parallels between these two teams, right? So even if you're not a fan of the Panthers or you're a Panthers fan, not a fan of the Ravens, I mean, you know what it is. We always draw parallels because there's so much. And you can do that for any team if we're being honest, right? But there's so much going on over there that we need to be looking at. But yeah, coaches, everybody is seeming to get on board with firing Greg Roman now. I think it's a done deal that he's going to be out of here at the end of the year. Are they going to fire him during the season? I don't think so. I think because Lamar is coming back and they think they can salvage the season and get to the playoffs, they're not going to want to change anything. If he wasn't coming back, I think they would have said, all right, you can go now. I mean, we're not going to win with Tyler Huntley. You can just go, right? But they'll finish out the season, and I think he's definitely gone. The question is, Will Wink be gone? I don't think Harbaugh will be gone, but would both of his corners be out? That's the question. Oh, and B just took off on me. We're supposed to pick it up. Okay, now for John Harbaugh.
My bad. I had to sneeze. I don't want to sneeze on the show.
As soon as you sneezed, Jacob came in the room, so I looked this way and you were gone. It was funny.
But okay, no, I don't think Harbaugh will be gone. You've got people outside of Baltimore praising him and saying he should be winning Coach of the Year for the job he's doing. I think that Greg Roman is going to be gone. Like you said, it's to the point now where it doesn't even matter if he's a good coach or not. It doesn't matter if you believe that or not, because the offense has just looked too bad over the last 6 weeks or however long it's been, and you're not getting rid of Lamar Jackson. You have to make a change, and that change is Greg Roman. Wink, I think is safe. I think Wink is safe because they've been a top defense for the past several years. And, they do have the injuries to Marcus Peters and now Deshaun Elliott and Marlon Humphrey. Derek Wolfe hasn't played all year. Now, those aren't the reason that the defense is bad. I think they've just been poorly coached this year. And the players they haven't played up to their ability. But I think that those injuries will give him a pass and he'll be back. But man, I really believe, and I mean, look, I've felt this way for a long time, even before Lamar Jackson got there and everything, that it was time for a whole, house cleaning in Baltimore. They need an organizational shift because they're stuck in the past, and now they're really complacent. They're lazy in terms of free agency. Like they don't even do their due diligence on a lot of players. They just go after the names that they recognize, older guys who don't need to be coached and all this stuff. So I think, honestly, that they need to clean house and get everybody up out of there. But I think it's just going to be Greg Roman.
Yeah. So I'm posting some of these comments. Dandy says it's fire EDC. Can the new offensive coordinator do much with how EDC has constructed the team? John Hazeb Ali says fire EDC. A lot of people were saying G-Rose got to go. Yeah, and a lot of people in this city thought it was time for John Harbaugh to go, going into that year that we drafted Lamar Jackson, right? That offseason, in fact, we were expecting him to go. We wanted him to go. The owner wanted him to go, and he said it in his press conference. Yes, I thought about firing him, and then I decided against it, right? He was that close. So going into Lamar's rookie year, he was on the hot seat. And we started out bad because he decided he wanted to roll with Joe Flacco. And there are rumors that he was going to get fired that week if we lost. And then all of a sudden, Flacco is too hurt to play. And we're going with Lamar. And we win, right? And then we keep winning. And he's still here. And now they're talking about he's coach of the year, right? Yeah. It's been time in our eyes for John Harbaugh to go. I just don't think he brings any fresh ideas to this young team. He doesn't have anybody in his circle that can bring fresh ideas to this young team. They can't develop anybody. And to Danny's point and John Hazeb Ali's point about Eric DeCosta, I don't think Eric DeCosta's been doing a great job either. Let's get that straight. I wouldn't give him a F or anything like that. Probably just a C or C minus, because there's still a lot of guys we gotta wait to see how they turn out. But by no means do I think he's doing a great job. By no means. But I don't think he's doing a terrible job either. But I can tell you this. Though. Eric DeCosta does not think he's doing a terrible job, right? He's not going to sit there and say, I've drafted over 30 players these last 3 years and made all these moves in the offseason, and none of them are working out. He's not going to say that.
Right.
He's going to say they're not getting it done.
Yeah, and to answer that question also, there would be a change if Greg Roman was out and they got a competent offensive coordinator in. The O-line excuse only goes but so far. There are a lot of really bad O-lines in the NFL. I mean, if you watch the game yesterday, I mean, not to say that Chicago's been doing a great job all season, but last night against the Packers, they were able to move the ball. They were able to put points on the board. They have one of the worst O-lines I've ever seen. Yeah. But there are things that you can do. There's misdirection. There's again actually designing a a quick pass offense, which Baltimore doesn't have. I don't know if anybody saw, but the Bears scored on a jet sweep essentially to, I forget the guy's name, Grant, I believe it was
Jakeem
Grant.
Grant, yeah.
Yeah, and that's not a thing that you see Baltimore doing, even though they have players who in theory would be good at that.
They had a real nice onside kick. Speaking of onside kicks,
yeah,
that was
they did.
that was an entertaining game last night. They didn't win, but that was entertaining.
But there are things that you can do. In Carolina early in the season with Sam Darnold, they were moving the pocket a lot, doing a lot of rollouts, design rollouts and things like that to kind of alleviate the pressure on the O-line a little bit, to get them. Because you don't want to just drop back and say, hey, good luck all game long. And the defense is just teeing off on your quarterback and you can't block them. So, there are things that you can do, and Greg Roman just doesn't do them. I don't know that T. Martin will be a better offensive coordinator, but I think they should fire Greg Roman immediately and find out what they have in T. Martin before they go into the offseason.
Absolutely. And shout out to Godson, man. Let me tell you something. Godson, I think Godson was one of the very first people to show up to our live stream, man. When me and B was like, let's just go live so we don't have to do any ads. We can just do it live. YouTube will upload it. Nobody's watching us. And Godson just popped up. We were like, what's this? There's a person watching us. Shout out to you, man. Appreciate you coming through. Our man, Couch Rider Ravens in the house, man. What's going on, Couch Rider? He says, dang, you come in for EDC? Couch Rider, have you watched this channel? Look, we're not Fire EDC over here, but it is not an EDC we trust at all. EDC has to prove himself. He has not come close to proving himself as a good GM.
But like you said, I'm not saying fire EDC, but he has not done a good job.
No, he
simply has not done a good job.
I'm not saying he's done a bad job, but he's definitely not done a good job.
I'm saying he's done a bad job. He has done a bad job. What is this O-line? What is it?
Oh no. Don't get me wrong. He's done a bad job yes. You know what? Yes, he's done a bad job. Because I was going to say he hasn't done a bad job everywhere, but the most important part of the team that he has to make sure he gets right is the offensive line, and he's done a terrible job there. So yes, he's done a bad job. He is a very young GM. In terms of his experience, right? Like he's only been GM for a couple of years. Yeah.
So I'm not saying fire Eric DeCosta. I think he'll be fine in the long term. But as of right now, he's done a bad job so far.
Yeah.
He needs to get it turned around.
Emphasis. What's up, Emphasis? He says Yannick and Judon have 21.5 sacks combined. This entire Ravens defense has about 26 sacks. I still think Wink should bounce. We think Wink should bounce too. And for that very reason, because we were saying, not we, but Ravens Flock was saying, we got to get rid of those guys because, they get pressure. They get QB hits. They just don't get enough sacks, right? And those guys are both, Judon's are, he's in a race with TJ Watt and Myles Garrett, for Defensive Player of the Year. Right, he's well past double-digit sacks. Judon has like 9 sacks, right? So he's going to end up. And Ngakoue has 9 sacks. He's about, he's going to go over double digits. They're both going to go over double digits. Something that we kept on saying here that he just doesn't do. He doesn't do it here, right? It's always that way when players leave here. It used to be the opposite. It used to be when players leave here, they get exposed on defense that they weren't really that good. Now it's just like, we're finding out, that guy's pretty good. We probably should have kept him. Right?
I just want to say also that there were a lot of people, all up in the chat, all up in the comments, taking victory laps, talking about how wrong we were about Owe. And I remember prior to the season, you all asked, hey, what do you think, how many sacks do you think he's going to get? And I said, about 5. And my man has 5 with 4 games to go. So, listen, you don't have to, but if you want to take another lap with apologies, feel free.
Listen. I'm going to say I was wrong on Owe. I didn't even think he was going to get 5 sacks this year. I didn't think he would play that much, to be honest, right? He was a lot more ready to play than I thought he was. So I'll go ahead and say I got it wrong on Owe. I still think it was a bad pick because we shouldn't have traded Orlando Brown to get that pick to draft him. And we should have drafted a left tackle instead of drafting him, right? But Owe has played a lot better than I thought he would play. Now,
and I'll say,
Justin Houston, and shout out to Living Legend, we are rooting for you, man. Me and B had considered just counting that almost sack as a sack again, but it was like, man, you know what? We've done it twice already, man.
Like, he has to have more actual sacks than sacks that we gave him.
The last one he has to do on his own, man. 4 guys. 4 games left. Justin Houston just needs 1 sack, so our man Living Legend can get his merch from the LBHT show, okay, from the LBHT store. So please cheer on Living Legend, cheer on Justin Houston. We need this man to get his shirt.
I'll say this too about Owe. I was wrong about him in that I didn't think that he would. I mean, I wasn't really sold on Owe coming out of college. I really wasn't. But I think if they get rid of Wink Martin and they get a competent defensive coordinator, they'll be just fine with Owe and Tyus Bowser. And I mean, I'm still pretty high on Dalen Hayes. Wherever he comes back. I think if they get rid of Wink and they get another defensive coordinator in there, you're going to see a dramatic increase in their QB pressure.
All right, look, Couch Rider still has faith in Owe. He says Owe will get 9 sacks before the year end. All right, look, we got 4 games left.
Okay, a sack a game. That's cool.
Hey, cool. I hope so. Noah says Keenan, hopefully Ozzie will teach the youngins how it's done. I think he was responding. Oh, he's talking to Keenan Ricketts. Shout out to Keenan Ricketts. EDC will be fine because Ozzie will always be in the office. Yeah, and
that means he ain't fine then.
And Danny points out, shout out to Ozzie for picking Owe. Oh,
yeah, right.
Because that's the rumor, right? That's the talk. Yeah. That wasn't even Eric DaCosta's move. Look, I think some people still think Eric DaCosta drafted Lamar and drafted Andrews and drafted Bozeman and the guys that you like on his team. He didn't draft any of those guys.
The last good class that the Ravens had.
Oh, look, it's Shug. What's up, Shug?
What's up, Shug?
Shug, man, you're happy, man. Anytime the Ravens lose, he got a big smile on his face.
Yeah, he does. He got his OTR hoodie too.
Ah,
looking
okay.
good.
Nice.
Looking good.
Nice. All right. That's what I'm talking about, man. Let's see. He said, John Hazeb says Wade Phillips for defensive coordinator. No. We need no more of these old guys that come with their old ideas, right? Like we need
Wade. I think is an exception to that. Wade is he's a forward thinker, man. Wade can still get it done.
He can get it done for like a year or two. He can't stay for more than 2 years.
He ain't coming to Baltimore anyway.
When has Ozzie ever hit on a wide receiver? That's a fair criticism, Couch
Torrey
Rider.
Smith.
Torrey Smith. But that's a fair criticism, right?
Yeah. No, he was really bad at it, and EDC's really bad at drafting O linemen. Which one's more important?
And defense. He's drafted a lot of people. He drafted a lot of players in these last 3 years. A lot of players. How many of them would you say worked out? 5? 6?
I was literally about to say, but he got Owe, and I remembered now he didn't.
Even if you want to count Owe, you talking about Owe, Bateman, J.K. Dobbins.
Still kind of waiting on Madubuike. I thought this was going to be a breakout season.
I think Madubuike is getting held back, though, and that's a problem with Wink. I think Madubuike is that good. I honestly think Tyus Bowser is that good.
I mean, look, I was a huge fan of Tyus Bowser coming out. I thought that was an absolute steal when Baltimore got him, and I think he's being held back.
So this is why Wink has to go, for sure. Like, look, for Greg Roman, I don't think he's capable of putting together a competent passing game, right? Mm-hmm. It's not a matter of want to with Greg Roman. He's just not able to. With Wink, I think he's able to. He just won't do it. Yeah. Right? I think he can make the adjustments. He's just too stubborn in his ways, and he's like, I'm not going to change it. So he's got to go. I think we have enough talent on this defense to where we don't have to spend a whole lot of money. I think they're going to be just fine, man. There's a lot of talent, but he can't get it out of them. Or won't get it out.
My man looked at Earl Thomas, who is one of the best center fielders in the league, a ball hawking free safety, and said, "How you feel about getting after the quarterback, son?"
Yeah. Oh, he got his first sack with us. Who cares?
Yeah. Right. That should tell you you're doing it wrong.
We were last in interceptions that year. And he wants edge rushers at every position. That's what he wants.
That's right.
Kean Ricketts, Perryman got the overtime touchdown last night. That's right. Yeah, shout out to Perryman, man. What up, Attitude Pop? He says, bruh, this is crazy. Lamar haters have been waiting for this moment, saying, I told you he was going to get hurt. Yeah, right. Yes, right. You're absolutely right, Attitude Pop. And for all that running and Browns fans cheering and laughing at Lamar in the media. Look, Browns fans, look, you already know.
And throwing food at him and everything.
Yeah, I mean, you already, look, those people, man, like they need a reason to be angry, right? Browns fans are that fan base, like they're not happy unless they're suffering. Yeah, let's just call it what it is, right? When Lamar went out, they were like, man, we might win this game. We're not happy about that, so they're throwing food at him, right? The minute Tyler Huntley started, putting together a comeback, then they get calm all of a sudden. They're like, oh, and this is the Browns we know. Oh, okay, all right.
This feels like home.
This feels normal. Yeah. Matt Williams says we are probably last this year in INTs. Probably. Now, the defense played well yesterday. They played well for the last 3 games, but they're not a good defense. They're playing some of the worst teams offensively in the league. Now, I'll give them credit for shutting down the run against the Browns because the Browns are one of the best running teams in the league. Mm-hmm. So, give them props for that. But if you really want to impress me, show up these next 4 games. Right? If they hold Green Bay to 17 points, I'm going to give them their props.
Yeah, right? Man. Because Devontae Adams is nigh unstoppable.
Listen, guys, if you
listen, I know that people have been hating on this dude, but say your prayers for Anthony Averett. Yeah. Because he going to need it.
Tony Hendo says Clark dropped 5 interceptions. Yeah, it might have been more.
The Panthers dropped 3 in one game this week. So,
all right, let's talk about some Panthers. And
I didn't mean that.
Let's talk about some Panthers because look. I always say you can draw parallels between the two teams. Now, all right, we can recap the game, but it's really what's going on after the game what I want to get to, right?
Yeah. So Carolina, like I mentioned, they dropped multiple interceptions. The defense gave up 22 to a team who averages 18 a week. They got down to the end. They had a chance to get the ball back and go for the tie. And the defense gave up a 3rd and 14. They left Kyle Pitts wide open. So the defense is continuing to struggle. The offense, if you just look at it on the surface, they gave up, I think, 1 sack, 1 or 2 sacks, not that many pressures. But the Falcons are the worst pass rushing team in the league. So they still didn't do a good job. Cam had a bad interception that got returned for a touchdown. He just didn't see the defender there. Guy picked it off, took it back to the house. He had another turnover that wasn't really on him, even though the announcers wanted to put it on him. It was a fumbled exchange with the running back because the O-lineman stepped on his foot and tripped him. He got pulled for PJ Walker because they want to put him in for 2 and 4 minute drill, which doesn't make any sense at all, but whatever, Matt Rule. So PJ Walker came in and immediately turned the ball over as well. It's all a mess right now. It's spiraling out of control. They don't have the talent on the O-line. Brady Christensen not playing well at guard. They refuse to play him at tackle. I mean, look, I don't think that he's an NFL left tackle anyway, but at this point, put him out there and see what you have. I mean, Cam Irving is not the answer, but I think that Matt Rule, again, I've said it for the last few weeks, I think he's in over his head and he's drowning.
Yeah, and the talk on social media from a lot of former players and just people in Panthers media is he needs to go now.
Immediately.
And B made this point that, they don't usually say stuff like that unless they're hearing something, right? And I believe that the owner wanted Cam back. I don't think Matt Rule wanted any part of Cam coming back, but I think David Tepper said, listen, we ran off Cam before. You brought in Teddy Bridgewater. You said that was your guy. You and Joe Brady's guy. It didn't work out. We gave up a second round pick for Sam Darnold. You talked me into not drafting Justin Fields, and he didn't work out. Now we're going back to Cam, and you have to make it work. The first week, he played a little bit, and they blew out the Cardinals, and everybody's happy about that. Second week, didn't look so good. Well, he looked fine. He looked fine against Washington. Oh, we've got another donation. Let's read this real quick. Why did Carolina bench Cam again? And shout out to you, Anonymous.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that. Okay,
but,
so
again, it wasn't like a benching.
No,
it's a planned thing. They want PJ Walker running the 2-minute, 4-minute drill. I don't know why. PJ Walker is a terrible quarterback
because
and they try to run the same things that they do with Cam anyway. But whatever. Because
that's what a first time NFL head coach does coming from college, right? He has that college mentality. I told you, that's what happened with Teddy Bridgewater, right? Teddy Bridgewater kind of questioned him a little bit, pushed back on some of his criticism, and he's not used to dealing with grown men. He didn't like it, and he just ushered him off, right?
Yeah.
And now you have an owner telling you, this is your guy, and he doesn't want him to be the guy. And you guys know coaches do this, right? They're not really feeling you. They're like, okay, well, you throw them out there and you're not really supporting them. And the minute they don't look good, okay, we're going to pull them. That's what they did the first time he didn't look good, right, in that Miami game. Or we're going to pull him. We're going to put in PJ Walker. And David Tepper said, all right, Joe Brady got to go. He can't make it work. Then Joe Brady got to go. So we're good now, right? You know what I'm saying? And he played this week. And you're pulling him from the game, and you're trying to mask it as, oh, well, PJ Walker is better in the 2-minute offense, even though PJ Walker's done nothing but throw interceptions every time he goes in.
Well, he gets sacked too.
He gets sacked too, right? But now, yeah. I don't think it's a coincidence that you're hearing this talk of Matt Rule getting fired. I think Tepper is sending the message, you're not getting what I'm saying. You need to make it work with Cam Newton.
Mm-hmm. And now, they're Matt Rule saying Sam Darnold may be a factor down the stretch. Like, I mean, look, it has to end at this point, right? I said that the one thing that would give him some security is the fact that Carolina is not an attractive job. But with the way this season is going, if it continues down this road, you can't bring him back. Shout out to Panther Nation podcast. They said it. They put it this way: trajectory matters, right? And they're comparing to Rivera and even some of John Fox. And after the midway point in the season, the team got better. They started winning more games. They were more competitive. With Matt Rule, it's the opposite. Things are spiraling out of control. They look awful. All the good feelings that Panthers fans had a few weeks ago when Cam came back and they blew out Arizona are all gone. Yeah. Everybody was talking playoffs at that point. They had Washington and Miami coming up and Atlanta.
Yeah.
And they lost all of those.
Yeah.
And they look a mess.
The defense fell apart. The defense is what I thought was going to really carry the team. They're falling apart.
And now they've got Buffalo next week. And listen, Buffalo is going to beat them by 30. and Matt Rule had better be gone when it happens.
Yeah. All right, shout out to Adeep Mahmood. He says, who goes first, Urban or Rule? Man.
Listen to how embarrassing it is for Carolina to be in that question, because it's a legit question.
I thought Urban was going to be gone after like week 5. But he's holding on. And I think
he got put in his place by Trevor Lawrence, apparently.
I think Urban Meyer is such a slime ball. I think he's already mentally checked out weeks ago. He just doesn't want to walk away from all the money. He wants to get fired so he can get paid on his way out. Mm-hmm. He's that type of slime ball, man. But Urban Meyer's another one. He's another college coach that his ego will not allow him to be a good NFL coach because he doesn't know how to deal with grown-ups. He can yell at kids.
Staff, he assembled a bunch of losers.
I can't stand that dude, man. What's up, Tanja? Thanks for coming through. Tanja says,
Tanja?
Jose and Brodney, what is happening? Yes, what's up with all the benching? Man, I'm telling you, these coaches, man, they lost their mind. Their mind. Noah says, why was Matt Rule hired in the first place? B, why was he hired in the first place?
I mean, he was the hot name, in college, or one of. He had turned around Temple. He turned around Baylor. So he had done a good job there. And then, he wanted to be the New York Giants head coach. And I think David Tepper, I think part of it was he was like feeling good about being able to steal him away from another team, because he was scheduled to meet with the Giants. Tepper flew to his house and gave him the pitch, made him that huge offer. And Matt Rule said, well, let me think about it. And he called the Giants, and the Giants were like, nah, you good. And now he's the Panthers coach. And I do think that Tepper kind of wanted to make that big splash, and he wanted to steal him away from New York. And, he's one of the highest paid coaches in the league and all this stuff. But it was obviously a mistake at this point. And I think that, to Tepper's credit, he's realizing that and is not just kind of hanging around and just letting it play out. He is making moves, once he realized the mistake that he made.
Yeah. And we can circle back to the Ravens. We can tie this to the Ravens. It's time for Eric DeCosta and Steve Bisciotti to realize that, they didn't make a mistake with John Harbaugh, obviously. He's the best coach we've ever had in this franchise, and I still think he's a very good coach. It's just time for him to move on. And you have to recognize when it's time for a coach to move on. Philly did that with Andy Reid. Andy Reid is a great coach, and he builds up another franchise, and they're already a Super Bowl champion. But they realized they were just not going to go any further with Andy Reid. It was time for him to go. And when they got rid of him, they won a Super Bowl, right? You just have to understand when it's not working out anymore, and it's just time to move on. But I don't think he's going to go anywhere, right? Let me make that clear. But I think this offseason is going to be very telling as to how much faith they're going to have in him moving forward, right? I think when they sit down, if John Harbaugh offers up his coordinators, if he goes into that meeting and says, hey, man, I think we need to make a change here, right? Like these on both sides. I think we need some fresh ideas. I want to bring in some new coordinators. And they're like, yes, let's put together your staff, let's rebuild it a little bit and move forward that way. I think that will buy him a lot of time and a lot of good faith. They'll say, okay, John Harbaugh gets it, right? But if he tries to defend them and they're like, we didn't want to tell you this, we thought you would come to that decision on your own, that will put him on the hot seat. He won't get fired, but that will definitely put him on a hot seat because that tells them that he's not getting it.
And he's not going to get it because, and this is something we've talked about in the past a lot, he won a Super Bowl and you can't tell him anything.
Yeah.
He's doing it the way he wants to do it, and nobody is going to get him to change that.
Yeah, and that's why Bisciotti will fire him, because that's exactly what Brian Billick thought, right? Brian Billick thought, I'm untouchable. I won a Super Bowl. Greatest defense of all time. Mm-hmm. Bisciotti is like, yeah, you can go.
but this is part of what I mean too when I say that every team isn't trying to win. John Harbaugh would rather win. He would rather lose his way than change and win.
Yeah. And Danny asked the question, does Bisciotti still care about this team? Yes, he cares about making money. Every owner cares about making money, and the Baltimore Ravens make a lot of money, especially with Lamar Jackson now. They make a boatload of money. So, yes, he cares in the sense of he wants to make sure Lamar Jackson remains successful because they're about to pay him a whole lot of money. Like Lamar Jackson's not going anywhere. That's not even a controversy. That's just haters just talking, right? And people that don't like the fact that they were wrong on him in the beginning want some sort of validation. Lamar Jackson's not going anywhere. He's going to be the highest paid quarterback in the history of the NFL when he signs his deal. Those things are happening without a doubt. And they're going to want to make sure, Steve Bisciotti's going to make sure he's put in the best situation to succeed so he can keep making the team money, right? So that's, he cares in that sense. Does he care about winning the Super Bowl? That's secondary. And that's secondary to just about every owner other than maybe Jerry Jones, right?
I think it's secondary to him too.
Yeah, probably.
He puts on a better show about it.
Yeah. Tanja wants to know, Jose and Brodney, can you tell me how we played the Browns back-to-back and Lamar came out, run to Freeman, then a pass, and, of course, Lamar run up the middle? Where is the vault? Open it!
Greg Roman ain't got no vault. Greg Roman has he has defense mechanisms that he uses in media sessions, and the vault is one of them.
I love when these coaches say, "Oh, you always hear about these coaches that have all these plays in their playbook, and oh man, like it's so complicated, and I have so much more, but you never see it." And they've admitted a couple weeks in a row that, hey, we just don't have a whole lot. If we do too much in the first half, then we won't have anything for the second half. That's what they've been saying this whole time, right? Every time we say, hey, how come we're off to the slow start? Why don't we start the first half like we play in the last 4 minutes of the game? Well, because if we do that in the first half, then we ran through our whole playbook. That's the answer, right? We ran through the whole playbook. Our playbook is real basic, and if we do it in the first half and they make adjustments, we're toast.
That's your real answer. They think that, hey, we can't out execute anybody. We have to trick them. Yes. Which is another reason the coaching staff needs to go.
You can say whatever you want about the talent, about injuries. You can say whatever you want about that. Injuries suck. But not being able to execute, not knowing your assignments, that's all 100% on coaching. It doesn't matter who's in there. They should understand what they're supposed to be doing out there. How well they can execute it, that's something different. But they're not even doing that. Okay, that is poor coaching going on there. Jemiah CV, what's going on? Thank you for joining the live stream. He says, what's up, fam? Sorry to say this, but the Ravens losing 3 out of 4 the last 4 games. Hey, man, who knows?
Yeah, Green Bay looked really tough yesterday. Or rather, Green Bay's offense did. Their defense and special teams, not so much. But that's all you need, right? If you've got Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones, and I mean, even to an extent, A.J. Dillon, and you can put up, 45 points that they ended up with?
Yeah.
You're going to win.
Yeah. Emphasis says Greg Roman's vault is a Nike shoebox with a 2-yard pass on 4th and 6 in it. Couch Rider says, don't count us out. No, not count us out. I think we only need 2 wins, and I think we'll get 2 wins, and I think that'll be enough to win the division. Right? We'll beat the Bengals again, or not again, but we'll beat the Bengals the next time we play them, and we'll beat the Steelers next time we play them. That's my prediction. I think we're going to get ran off the field next week.
I don't think they'll get run off the field. Baltimore, they are tough. They are fighters.
Yeah.
And they do show up for games like that typically.
Yeah.
They know that Aaron Rodgers is coming to town. They're going to get up and they're going to play their best against Aaron Rodgers. So I'm not saying that they're going to win, but I don't think they get blown out.
And what's up, Charles? Charles, this is your one free troll. Okay, the next one you got to pay for. He says Lamar is a disgrace. 0 points in the first quarter. Nah, man, don't want to see Lamar's career collapse in front of me. Hospital ball to Murray. He's cooked mentally. All right, man. Next one, you got to hit the Cash App, okay?
And I'll say this, we've mentioned this before on the show. I mean, you can criticize Lamar all you want for the way he's playing. Lamar is not mentally weak.
Not at all.
Lamar is just fine.
Now, John Harbaugh came out today and said that they're planning, they're going forward as if he's going to play on Sunday. Now, John Harbaugh, nobody lies more.
He's a liar.
Yeah, he lies. Nobody lies more than John Harbaugh when it comes to injuries. I don't think Lamar's going to play, but if he's able to play, Lamar will go out there and play.
Yeah, I think he's going to play. I think he will. I don't know how effective he's going to be. I don't think you'll see him running very much, but I think he'll play.
Yeah, and this is what pisses me off about this offense, because they set him up for failure. They set him up for all the criticism that he gets because it's designed runs for Lamar Jackson. Our run game doesn't work unless Lamar Jackson is running, because Greg Roman isn't that good of he's not some run game genius, right?
Yeah.
That would be the Shanahans, Mike Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan, right? Those are guys, we talked about that last night. It doesn't matter who's at running back. They're probably going to go for 1,000 yards, okay? Yeah. And they don't need their quarterback to run for them to get it. Our running backs do nothing unless Lamar gets it going. If Lamar plays next week, he shouldn't be running on a bad ankle, and he'll be a sitting duck in the pocket, and we don't have anything in our playbook that gets the ball out of his hands quick enough. We don't have that kind of offense. So he shouldn't play, right?
No, he shouldn't, but I think he will.
Yeah, he probably will. He probably will. I don't know, but I'll leave him for open to criticism. Like, see, he can't. When he can't run, he's not effective. That's what they'll say. He can't run, he's not effective. No, that just means this offense isn't effective. It doesn't work for him. We have to protect him from stuff like that. And I think Bisciotti will put his foot down and say, "Look, I've seen enough." Right. Let's see. Do we wait until next year to expect a playoff push, or if we get into the playoffs, are there expectations this year, legitimate expectations? I don't think so this year. I think the only expectation is you can't embarrass yourself, even if we go out even in the first round. I don't think we can embarrass ourselves in the playoffs. Like, we can't get blown out.
The expectations this year in the playoffs will only stem from the fact that only the Chiefs have separated themselves in the AFC at this point. Their defense has turned it around. They've been playing really well. Their offense has turned it around. They're playing really well recently. So they're the only ones who have kind of separated from the pack a little bit. The rest of the AFC still does not look very good. Even New England with their win streak, they don't look particularly impressive. When you watch them, they have a good defense and they have an offense that is doing just enough at this point, and that's not going to be enough in the playoffs.
Yeah. All right. It's game time, guys, and we want you guys to watch other football other than the Ravens, man. And we're gonna talk about this, man. We're gonna talk about it more on Wednesday. I'm gonna tell you why you'll see some haters come through now and take their victory laps on Lamar, and I'm gonna explain to you signs of low key haters that don't want to show that they're really hating on Lamar because he's too successful, and it'll be too obvious that they're hating, but low key they're sitting there waiting. The comments that they make, little things that they'll say here and there, and the reaction when he is in a slump, and why they think that way, especially amongst Ravens flock members, right? Because there are Ravens fans out there that hate on Lamar, and some people that don't even really hate on Lamar. It's just that they're just not used to seeing elite quarterback play, right? Mm-hmm. Which is what you're seeing from Lamar, and I think some people don't understand that elite quarterbacks don't always play great, right? Yeah. And the reason why you think that is because you've never seen it here in Baltimore, and a lot of times we don't watch other games, right? Like, Aaron Rodgers is great, Mahomes is great, but you know that because you might see him on Monday Night Football, you might see him on Sunday Night Football, you see the highlights all the time, but you don't see when they're going through their slump a lot of times. Yeah, like Peyton Manning, his last year in Denver, he was god awful. And they not once did they think about pulling him, and they won a Super Bowl, right?
Just again, unnecessary. So many examples could have used, but thank you for that. But yeah, no, the NFL has it set up that way where the majority of fans can only see guys when they're in prime time. Yeah, and so you'll see Aaron Rodgers when they're Sunday night, Monday night, things like that. But the majority of his games you can't watch unless you happen to be on DirecTV or something like that or other means. But most people aren't, so you don't really get to see those guys play a whole lot. And that's one of the major flaws, I think, with the NFL. But the NFL as a whole, I think they don't really want their fans to understand the game.
Yeah, that's a good point. Andre Mears, what's up, Andre Mears? The people in these Facebook groups are wild. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of them reside on Facebook, and they'll be out there on Twitter. They'll be in some of these spaces. Man, I've been listening to some of these spaces, man. Sheesh. I listen. I don't comment too much, but I listen, and I'm like, man, I don't know. One of these days we gotta do our own spaces, but yeah. Let's see what else we got here. G-Ro for president. That's what Couch Rider is saying. Noah says Chiefs are a scary sight at the moment. Yes, they are.
And that's real because Noah is the biggest Chiefs hater.
Hey, man, he's calling it how he sees it. All right. Yeah. Tony wants to know what changed in Kansas City. Coaches making adjustments. Wish I had that. Yes. Well, he wasn't asking. He's just letting you know. That's what happened. Yeah. Making adjustments. What you see in Kansas City is a team that's used to playing in the Super Bowl, right? Or used to getting to the AFC Championship. 3 years in a row, they've been in the AFC Championship. 2 years in a row they've been to the Super Bowl. 1 year they won it. They're playing for rings. So they get off to a slow start. That means absolutely nothing to them. They know what they're capable of. They know what it takes to win. They don't care about the start of the season at this point. It's hard to get motivated that early on when you know what it takes to go all the way. And I think that's just kind of what you saw early on. It's just like, yeah, we're kind of lackluster right now. We'll figure things out. And now they're figuring things out because the end of the season is coming. They see what's ahead of them, and they're ramping up for it. That's why they can drop 48 points on the Raiders. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's nothing. And Pat Mahomes didn't even do a whole lot. He didn't even play the whole game, right? Like, yeah, be afraid. That's what I want our team to look like. I want a team where we are so stacked. Lamar is so stacked. And Graven says this all the time. I want a team where we're so stacked we can say no excuses, right? The other team knows we are unstoppable, and there's nothing you can do about it. We have all the weapons. Lamar has all the protection, all the weapons, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's no game plan that you can come up with that's going to stop him. That's what I want to see here. This whole floating under the radar thing, man. Look, stop being afraid, man. Like, that's scared talk. That's all that is. You know, I don't want them to see us coming. Why? I want everybody to know we're coming.
Yeah.
Right? Like, have some confidence in your team, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't. That's scared talk. That's all it is, man. We'll be fine. I do think this is it for Greg Roman. Right? He'll finish out this season, and he is definitely gone. This offense is not going to work for anybody moving forward. Couch Writer says, time to break the bank on the O-line. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, we're going to finish it up there. You guys go watch some football. We'll be back on Wednesday, 7:15 p.m. All right, and if you're new, make sure you hit that subscribe button. All right, and B, anything before we get out of here?
No, I think that's about it. You know, go check out. Like you said, go check out the game tonight. Go see how how the other half lives. You know, teams who or fans who don't hate their teams. And we'll see you on Wednesday.
All right, y'all. Have a good night. We'll see you Wednesday. Peace out.
Well, hold on though, because I just remembered again. But I'm here now though. So try it again. Take 2. That's on you. That's definitely on you. You went too fast.
Oh, hold on. Fast. Last minute. Z the Beast makes an appearance. What's up, Z?
What's up, Z?
He says, I don't think they will fire him because of injuries. You talking about Greg Roman?
Greg Roman.
They ain't gonna save him this time. It's not. I think he is toast. But we'll find out. And we'll talk about more on Wednesday. All right, B. Are you ready?
Yes.
Peace out.